Sharabanjan hai, Sharabanjan hai, Nadiya Goti mein Nityananda Mahajan, Sharabanjan hai, Sharabanjan hai, Sharabanjan hai, Sharabanjan hai, Nadiya Goti mein Nityananda Mahajan, Katya Chinam Hatta Jive Rakaram, Katya Chinam Hatta Jive Rakaram, Prabhu Ragnai Bhai Magiye Diksha, Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna Koro Krishna Shika, Nariya Goti mein Nityananda Mahajan, Satya Chinama Chivera Karam, Aparara Shina Hoy Loho Krishna Nam, Krishna Mata Krishna Pitta Krishna Janata, Krishna Samsara Koro Chariyana Cha, Jive Doya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharmasa, Nadiya Goti mein Nityananda Mahajan, Katya Chinam Jive Rakaram, in the land of Nadia, on the island of Godruma, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of the holy name, meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. O men of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, her brothers, I beg these three requests of you. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and follow Krishna's instructions. Being careful to remain free of offenses, just take the holy name of Lord Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is the treasure of your life. Giving up all improper behavior, carry on your worldly deeds, only in relation to Krishna. Showing compassion to all fallen souls by loudly chanting the holy name of Krishna is the essence of all forms of bliss. Parama Koruna Bhavundvi Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Parama Bhavundvi Jana Nitai Gaura Kevalaya Nandakanda Sabhavata Sarashiramani Kevalaya Nandakanda Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Surya Vishwasa Kori Vishaya Charya Shera Simajya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Haki Chure, Pashana Vidare, Shuni Jaru Gunakata. Samshari Mujya, Ruhili Podiya. Pade nahi lo asha Sansare majiya rohi sohiya Pade nahi lo asha Apana karama bunjaye shamana Koe lochana dasa And Lord Gaurachandra are very merciful. They are the essence of all incarnations. The specific significance of these incarnations is that they introduce the process of chanting and dancing. It is simply joyful. My dear brothers, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious by this process, one has to give up his engagement in sense gratification. Become absorbed in worshipping Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda and simply chant Hare Krishna, Hare Hare without any material motive. My dear brothers, just try to examine this within the three worlds. There is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. Their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even birds and beasts cry and stones melt. But I, Lord Chandra, regret that I am entrapped by sense gratification. I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and therefore Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me by not allowing me to be attracted to Krishna. Nitai Gaurachandra Nitai Gaurachandra Everyone like Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Payeche Keba. Means which part means which? Who can say? Where's the Bengalis? We need more Bengalis. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nishtara Payeche Keva. Shastrashara, can you look it up? Is he here? Give us the word for word. Oh, we have our Bengali representative. Go ahead. You have to pray for the microphone. They don't go on automatically.
Chadiya means without the seva of the Vaishnavas.
Chadiya doesn't mean without the Vaishnavas.
Like leaving the. I mean.
What does Chadiya mean?
Like chhod dena kya bolte? Without giving up or without that Vaishnava.
Can you say more about the word? Huh?
Like in Hindi we say chhod, like giving it up, let it go, like those.
Okay.
So letting go of the seva of the service of the Vaishnavas, who will get nistar is liberation, like.
What's the part who will get?
Payeche keba. Payeche who get payeche is getting and keba is who. So who will get like the
without if you give up
the
Vaishnava Seva, who can get? And then the more like straightforwardly it's translated as without the seva of the Vaishnavas.
Yes.
Then you can't get it.
Yeah, you can't get the liberation or any perfection.
Can anybody give a verse from Shastra or an incident where you can think of that relates to that? Do I see a hand up behind me? Give me some Sanskrit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Devavrata? Is he here? Give a Sanskrit verse. Quick.
Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti karna rasayana kata tajosna asu pavarga vartmani shadaratir bhaktir anukramisyati.
Where's it from? What does it mean?
The meaning is that through being in the association of those who are satam, then one can have Krishna rasayana kata, or kata, which is like a kind of medicine. And by taking in that vibration, one will develop faith and devotion for Krishna systematically.
And it's from?
Sriimad Bhagvatam, teachings of Lord Kapiladev.
325.25. Okay, now Anapayani has one from Prahlad Maharaj's prayers. And this one actually has the word vina in it, maybe. Go ahead.
Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhikama manuya prapattan prasangat kritvatmasat surarshina bhagavan grihita soham katam nuvrishtraje tava bhritya sevam. And in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is describing how his Guru Narad Muni provided him his devotional service. So his first duty is actually to serve him. Like, how could he be without that?
Yeah, and he saved him too, right? Can you say more about that in the meaning of the verse? Evam janam nipatitam Prabhavahi Kupe. Where did he save him from?
Blind well full of snakes.
Is that a question or answer?
Answer? Answer.
Evam chanamni patitam bravahi kupe. He saved them. Kama become, because one lusty desire after another. Kama become anuyam. It became anu. One thing after another came to me. Kama become anuyam prapatam prasangat. But by the association of my spiritual master, he saved me from that, from one material desire after another, and from the blind well full of snakes. So then he says, what's the last part? Last line.
Soham katam nu vishrujetava prityasevam. So therefore my first duty is to serve him. How could I leave that service?
That's right. How could I leave it? One more. Another one from Prahlad Maharaj.
I was thinking of that song, Ohe Vaishnava Thakur. Krishna je tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomar shakti ache. Ami to kangal, Krishna Krishna boli, dhai tab pache pache. So, what is okay? How? Krishna is yours, and only you can give me Krishna. I am like a beggar, so I'm running after you. So.
Thank you so much, everyone. Really nice. Jadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paye Chekeba. Namasheshtam Manumapi Shachi Putram Atra Sarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Uruparim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivadamaho Radhika Madhavasham Rapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurun Dhamnatosmi He Guru Jnanadadina Bandho Swanandadata Kodanaika Sindho Vrindavana Sinahi Pavatara Prasida Radha Karnaya Prachara He Dina Bandho Kodanaika Sindho Kuru Prasadam Mai Mandavudhe Laksha Parare Bahupapagare Tatpara Padmestu Matishta Krishne Yadyapi Amara Guru Chaitanya Radas Tathapi Janye Amitahara Prakash Guru Krishna Rupahara Shastraya Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhaktadane Shiksha Guru Keta Jani Krishna Rasarupa Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha Eyuri Rupa Naivo Payantya Patitim Kavayastadesha Brahma Yishapi Kridam Ridam Udasvaranta Yontar Vahistanubratam Ashubham Vadunram Acharya Chaitya Vapusha Swavatimyati. Just go to the Guru Vandanam translations, please. Keep going. Keep going. Translations. Guru Vandanam. The translation is Shri Guru Charadapadma. This is speed learning. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opened our darkened eyes, fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Shadna Bando Mui Sabadana Sare bhai bhavaguru hiya jai Krishna Prapti hoy Guru Adhamaja Nahara Bandhu. Prabhu Kora Joya Deha More Pagataya. Jashti Shik Tribhuvana. Jashti Shik Tribhuvana. Prabhu Kora Doya Ke Amore Padachaya. Prabhu Kora Doya Ke Amore Padachaya. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namine. Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachayine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Rishatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Prabhu Nityananda Radha Shivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare
Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paramahansa Asataya Sriimad Divine Grace of the A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Anantagauda Vaisesika Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Premsika Host Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Maya Purnavadam Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Gau Premanandi all glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories, Shishi Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Good morning. This morning we'll begin with a brahmachari ceremony. Very helpfully, to say the least, the varnashrama system gives facility at every era, in every era of our life. to live in such a way that we can get the most out of the mental and physiological ways that were made up at that particular time. It accommodates us. And it walks us through, does the Varnashrama system, a way that we can work according to our natural strength, giving our attention to Krishna. Daivi Varnashrama means that it's based on giving facility so that one can give full attention to Krishna. And when devotees come into Krishna consciousness, especially when they're young, but not necessarily, because old means about to die and nobody knows if they're young or old in that case. It's helpful to live in an ashrama in which one can sleep on the floor and not have any distractions, be fully engaged in service. Some decide to stay on that track, and others can transition into the Grihastha ashram. Just yesterday I was talking to someone who was going the other way later in their life. And I won't say who it is. And they're not here, so don't worry. But there's a way in which there are different periods in our life in which transition into one situation or another can facilitate one's Krishna consciousness. And previously, it was just assumed that everyone who would come into the Krishna consciousness movement, because almost everyone was young, and so they would just automatically come into the brahmacharya ashram. Now we give acknowledgement to that because many come and then there's a period in which they practice and then decide where they're best suited. And then also transitioning to other ashrams, there's always some transition ceremony. So we can glorify, acknowledge that the person is taking steps to stay in the best possible situation to continue worshiping Krishna. So we have today transition ceremony from what is kind of a practice brahmachari, although he's wearing white, he's not a grihastha, Balaram Gopal Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And we'll give you the saffron cloth. I'm giving you on behalf of your spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, whom I've duly offered the cloth to. But I'd like to hear from Devavrata Prabhu the course, the journey that Balaram Gopal's been on, because you've been there with him since the very beginning, and you can attest to his readiness for this ashram. We only request one microphone to be used in service at this time. You have to pray.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I first met Balaram Gopal in San Luis Obispo in 2022. But he had gotten a book from our traveling party in 2021 from a devotee named Damodar Kumar, who was traveling with me at the time. And interestingly enough, the day Balaram Gopal Prabhu got a book from Damodar Kumar, I had one of the worst days of that traveling Sankirtan trip. I was on a different part of the campus, and Damodar Kumar was getting out a ton of books, and Balaram Gopal was one of the people who got it. About 6 months later, I got a message from Damodar Kumar telling me that Balaram Gopal had reached out to him via Instagram, saying that he had read the entire Bhagavad Gita and he wants to know more. He's looking for Sangha specifically. So I was about to be in San Luis Obispo again at that time, and I told my traveling Sankirtan partner, Ganganath Prabhu, that whatever this person says, he's taking a Srimad Bhagavatam set home with him today. And so he came up. It was the last person I met for the day, around 3:30. And I sat him down and I spoke with him. And I told him, these books are very important. You've already read Bhagavad Gita, so now it's time to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So he purchased a Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita on the spot. So I must say that Radheshyam Prabhu played a significant role in the cultivation of Balaram Gopal, because about a week before that, Radheshyam Prabhu had told me to give more time to the people I was distributing books to. So on that instruction, I started following up with Balaram Gopal, and we started reading Srimad Bhagavatam together. And in the course of reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada brings up the slaughterhouses of public education. And Balaram Gopal asked me, what can we do to help these people? And I said, well, you're a student, and you have an apartment, and you have a kitchen, so why don't we start having programs at your place? And he goes, oh yeah, sure. And so myself, Kirchor Gopinath Prabhu, and Jagat Chatra Prabhu, we started going up weekly to San Luis Obispo. And Balaram Gopal was hosting programs. And that took place for about a year and a half. But you came and visited, and a lot of the arrangements were done due to Balaram Gopal Prabhu's sincerity. So naturally, after doing that service, he developed a sense of connection with all of us, and he wanted to join the ashram. And subsequently, he moved here to ISV to help pioneer college preaching, which he had done in San Luis Obispo, and simultaneously set the foundation for a brahmachari ashram in Silicon Valley in the greater Northern California area. So we're very grateful for the opportunity for Balaram Gopal Prabhu to put on saffron cloth today, which is the emblem of humility, or a testament to one's commitment to remain humble in all circumstances. And just one thing I would like to say about putting on saffron cloth is that it's a declaration to oneself and to the world that my life is no longer simply meant for me, but it's meant for the benefit of others. And so along with maintaining dedication to the principles of humility, one simultaneously needs to be dedicated to acting selflessly in any and all circumstances. Hare Krishna.
And speaking of testaments, Balaram Gopal's advancement to this stage is a testament to the efficacy of the program you and your team are working on, giving facility at this very personal level to help those who are extremely sincere to take the next steps in their life. And we pray that your program may expand unlimitedly all over America, North America, and the world, so that more and more people can come and give their lives fully to Krishna consciousness. And we thank you and Suvarnabindu Prabhu for your diligence, and the rest of your team members, and scheming, planning, spending time and energy, and doing whatever's needed to make facility an environment in which those like Balaram Gopal can come and thrive in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. May he be the first of 10,000 more brahmacharis. Hare Krishna. In the next 5 years. So, Balaram Gopal Prabhu, I came to your house in that little enclave called Slow, San Luis Obispo. It's a little isolated place. You have to airlift in all supplies. If you fly there, you have to drop in by parachute. It's a little place surrounded by reality. And we came to your house and saw that because of your sincerity, you had facilitated hundreds of young people, non-traditional, as Devavrata had said, no previous connection with anything that has to do with Hare Krishna. But I've never seen any dancing or chanting in Kirtan like took place in your house. I kept looking up to see if the roof was still on. If it hadn't been a slab floor, it would have broken through. And that's a harbinger for your devotional service, that you started in such an environment and facilitated it. And therefore, I pray to Srila Prabhupada, to your spiritual master, and to Devavrata Prabhu and his team and all the previous acharyas, that may your sojourn in this life be marked by enthusiasm, full engagement in devotional service, and happiness of heart to chant Hare Krishna and see other people dance as enthusiastically as they were at your house. And may that enthusiasm that started in your house spread throughout California and then all over North America and the world. And we give you our sincere congratulations today for staying in the ashram system and strictly following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. I hereby award you on behalf of your spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and the whole team, this saffron cloth. Hare Krishna. Here and here. Knock them alive out there. And now we're going to proceed with our Srimad Bhagvatam class, the hearing of which, by Krishna's grace, they instill in our hearts knowledge and detachment and fortification for giving our heart and soul in devotional service. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jannaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jannaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jannaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jannaranjana Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Brahmachari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We'll start this morning with 7th Canto, Chapter 4, text number 2. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Continuing a topic that I'm writing a paper about, and therefore I'm using this time to explore the ideas. And it is based on the Bhagavad Gita, in which Krishna says, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, Manmaya, Mamupashrita, Bahavo Jnana Tapasa, Putamad Bhavam Agataha. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that one may overcome the 3 horsemen that hold us back, fearsome as they are, from making spiritual advancement. And one may do this, he said, by the austerity of cultivating knowledge. Jnana tapasa. Tapasa means taking the time to turn away from one's own sense gratification, the material, one's preoccupation with whatever makes one feel more conveniently situated, to think about one's ultimate good. And jnana means to, first of all, understand, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Jnam Chapi Manvidhi, Sarva Kshetrishu Bharata, Kshetra Kshetrajnayo Jnanam, Yatach Jnanam Matam Mama. He says, my opinion, the basis of knowledge is to know the difference between yourself and the body. The body is an energy field. It's, if you break it down into small particles, it's a vibrational force. And somehow it's organized by the mercy of Krishna, and his intelligence has put it together as a harboring place for the living force, which is categorically different from the energy force of the body. It's a completely different category of energy. It takes shelter in the present force, energy force, in order to facilitate either engagement, further engagement with the material world, or liberation from the material world. And so Krishna says that's the first step for knowledge. And then, of course, we know that the other steps of knowledge have to do with sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. Sambandha means that beyond just knowing that I'm not the body, I should also know that I, as a living force separate from the body, have a relationship with the source of all energies, which is Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante uta bhava samanvita. Those who have this awareness give themselves in cultivation of that relationship with Krishna, because they know all energies come from him, even the energy field of my body, what to speak of my very self, am part of Krishna. And as it is said in the Brahma Samhita, sanityo nitya sambandha prakritischa paraivasa, that I have an eternal relationship with Krishna, so let's look into it. That's the mood of sambandha gyan. And that's a very high level of understanding spiritual practice. From sambandha comes the execution of the process of knowledge. Just philosophical understanding that I have a relationship will not be fruitful unless I have a step-by-step process in order to realize that relationship. And it, in devotional service, has to do with 64 items, which come under the category of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. There are 9 general categories of Shravanam, hearing. I'll say it, then you repeat what it is. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. No, say what it is in English. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Did I miss anything? No. And then within those 9 categories, there are 64 individual items of devotional service that we can engage in, that we do engage in, through our process of Bhagavat Marg and Panchratrika Vidhi. The 2 things go together, and they come out to 64 items of devotional service. So that's abhideya. One can enter into that enactment of the knowledge that one's received, that one has a relationship with Krishna. And through engagement in Bhagavat Marg and Panchratrika Vidhi, then as one's senses become purified by that engagement, sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat pratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchite. There's a way in which, by using our present senses, the knowledge of our relationship in service to Krishna, then they become purified. And as we were reading the other night in our Bhagvatam reading group, there's only 2 people in it right now, presently. We read about how the material nature, pursuant to the Purusa Sukta, Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksa Sahasrapaha, Sabhuming Vishwato Vritvat, Atyatishat Dasangulam. There's one original person from whom everything emanates, and that includes all the elements of the world. And those who are engaged in Sambandha Gyan realize this, that all elements belong to Krishna, and they use all those elements in yajna, in Krishna's service, and this forms the pathway to perfection in life. And there are no other ingredients. There's nothing outside of Krishna. Everything is part and parcel of Krishna, including all the elements. That's why we have in the Bhagavad Gita Krishna's cataloging ways that we can remember him. Punyo ganda prativyam cha tejas chasmi vibhava so jivanam sarvabhuteshu tapas chasmi tapasvishu bija mam sarvabhutanam vidiparta sanatanam pudhir buddhimantam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. He's describing a material phenomena and saying, the fragrance of the earth, that's me. And I'm the heat and fire, right? So when we do part of Sambandha Gyan, we're doing yajna, taking those elements and we're offering them to Krishna, just like in the Purusa Sukta. The original sages, they looked around for, as the Supersoul dictated to them from within to perform yajna, as Brahma, Krishna also dictated within his heart, do yajna. But they looked, there was, where was the Indian store where they could go get some mixture of grains or something like that? There was no Indian stores at that time. And therefore they extracted from the universal Purusha all the ingredients. And that's what the Purusa Sukta is about. It tells how from the different limbs of his body they took the elements by which they offered back to him. So when we do artik, we do the same thing. As we're offering some punyoganda, here's the fragrance of the earth, offering it back to Krishna. We took it from Krishna, from the earth, we offer it back to him. And then we heat and fire, we offer the lamp. It's the same thing for the beginning of creation, and now it's extended into the process of Panchrat Shrikaviti, where we take all the elements, whatever we have, we just package them in different ways, and we offer them back to Krishna. That's the sacrifice, offering everything to Krishna. And then the third stage, the fructification of knowledge, comes in prayojana. And prayojana means the ultimate goal, which is to awaken one's natural loving relationship with Krishna. That comes from our heartfelt offerings to him, and Krishna reciprocates with us for that. And that dormant love that's in our heart, which is now generally misplaced, begins to awaken towards Krishna in a very specific way. And these are the three progressions of knowledge that we get. So in order to pave the way, in order to clear that path so that we can work steadily on the progress of Sambandha, then Abhideya and Prayojana, Krishna says there's three obstacles you must overcome. And so the first one's raga. I talked just briefly about krodha the other day, about cynicism, anger, confusion, frustration, and what did we call it? Intellectual despair that comes from ignorance. And then in raga means, as we're calling it in this context, irrational attachment to the lower energy matter. So Krishna says you have to give that up. It means transfer, but it's not so easy. But Krishna says, Bahavo Jnana Tapasa, through knowledge, Bahavo, many people have been able to transition and give up the attachment to irrational attachment to matter. And so Bahavo Jnana Tapasa, by jnana tapasa. So where does that come from? Well, it comes from the Bhagavad Gita, where we get the basic knowledge, and then Sriimad Bhagvatam, which takes us through various scenarios. And by hearing them, we don't have to experience it for ourselves. In other words, we can vicariously appreciate the results of sense gratification, which are not good, by the way, through the Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing. And the Srimad Bhagavatam removes the psychological obstacles. So now I'm looking at raga, irrational attachment to matter. So there are various ways in which I'm looking at the 7th canto through the 12th canto, and today I'll just look at a few examples of the ways in which the Srimad Bhagavatam allows us to look into a movie. And by watching it, it changes our idea about happiness in the material world. So I'm starting off today, and these are anecdotal, but we can talk about them for a moment. First of all, I just want to give an overarching statement about material desires. And the definition of them is, a material desire is a desire that is impossible to fulfill. And if I'm aware of that, it might give me pause. It may not break the cycle of my engagement in sense gratification, because that takes a little more investigation and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam more thoroughly, but at least that sets the stage for these presentations that we get throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam that allow us, without touching the material world ourselves, to hear about them and then naturally feel detachment from matter within our heart. Now, I'll just also mention that there is no detachment from matter until one realizes the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So the two things go on simultaneously, but the more important of the two is Manat Krishna Niveshayat, which means to think of Krishna somehow or other. And by thinking of Krishna, hearing about Krishna, there's a natural way, by attraction to Krishna, we get a higher taste, and then we're able to see the difference between our engagement with Krishna and with the lower energy of matter, and we naturally become detached. And I'll give an example from village wisdom. I got so much walking around with Radhanath Swami at the GEV. I wrote it in my notebook, and I'm milking all these analogies that I wrote down. And he told us about how on the lake, beautiful lake there at the Govardhan Eco Village, there are ducks and geese and swans. And they used to just have ducks and geese. And Maharaj told them they should get some swans. And the brahmacharis there, not being ornithologists, had opined that they already had swans because there were geese there. Now, if you look at a goose and a duck together, you may say that the goose is very beautiful. It's somewhat svelte, and it's got a longish neck, but it is when the duck seems awkward in all ways. The way it calls is quack, 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 quack. And the way it moves and the way it eats, it's an awkward type animal. Compared to that, the goose is swan-like. But Maharaj said, no, you don't know anything. Those are not swans. So they went out and found some swans and brought them. And as soon as they put them on the lake, what's more beautiful than a swan? When they swim, you can see the reflection. Even they can see it, and they're going, oh. And as they move through, you wonder, is there anything more beautiful in creation than the swan? And as soon as the brahmacharis saw the swan next to the goose, they thought, oh, now we see what a swan is and what a goose is. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vishaya vinivartante nirahara siddhehina rasavarjam rasopyasva param dushva nivartate. Unless we experience aesthetic beauty that stuns us, then we don't see the difference. We just think, oh, it's a goose, it's so nice. And therefore, most importantly is hearing about Krishna, hearing about the aesthetic of the spiritual world, and becoming enamored of it, getting acclimatized to the beauty of the spiritual world, and then pining for it, preferring it to everything else. And then naturally we're not interested in other things. In the meantime, it's useful to also pry from the other side of life, which is to talk about the adverse reactions to attachment to matter. Both things can be helpful. So the Bhagvatam goes through and gives us both. And so if we have, first of all, I'll read from Bhagavatam 7.4.2. This is on the eve of Hiranyakashipu receiving power from Brahma. He wanted to dominate the world. Now he's an iconic figure. He's emblematic of every person who wants to enjoy the material world is Hiranyakashipu. In fact, his name, Hiranya, means gold. Kashipu means soft bed. Grant me a boon that'll never drop dead. Never drop dead? That's what I said. It's from a kid's play. And so he was asking for this. And here we have, Lord Brahma said, O Hiranyakashipu, these benedictions for which you have asked are difficult to obtain for most men. Nonetheless, O my son, I shall grant you them, although they are generally not available. And Prabhupada writes, material benedictions are not always exactly worthy of being called benedictions. If one possesses more and more, a benediction itself may become a curse. For just as achieving material opulence in this material world requires great strength and endeavor, maintaining it also requires great endeavor. Lord Brahma informed Hiranyakashipu that although he was ready to offer him whatever he had asked, the result of the benedictions would be very difficult for Hiranyakashipu to maintain. Nonetheless, since Brahma had promised, he wanted to grant all the benedictions asked. The word durlabhan indicates that one should not take benedictions one cannot enjoy peacefully. And spoiler alert, we cannot enjoy material benedictions, any of them, peacefully. They become a great burden to us. And we find later that Hiranyakashipu couldn't maintain this. So when we have an inclination to ask for material benedictions, we can remember that they may become burdensome. Unless we know how to engage whatever we have at every stage of our lives in Krishna's service, then by taking whatever sense gratification one needs at every stage of life, and Prabhupada once said that sense gratification is like salt. You don't want too much, and you want too little. A godbrother of mine once also said, it's like your nails. You don't want them too long, and you don't want them too short. If you cut them too short, you'll be in pain. If you leave them long, they become, well, I won't say anything because it's the mainstay of our American economy. Maintaining nails. But in any case, just the right length. And so, if one learns to engage everything in Krishna's service and does it, and understands this tacit warning that Brahma is giving to Hiranyakashipu, it's paroksha. indirectly he's telling them this is really going to be bad for you. But when one's heated up and one thinks, no, but I want it, and we get something, then it's really hard to speak to the person at that time. So throughout the Vedic literatures, there are many facilities for sense gratification. There are ways in which a soul who misidentifies with material nature and becomes a binibheshita, absorbed in it, then doesn't want to give it up and thinks that's really my interest. Therefore, we find systems in the Vedas. There are 18 Puranas, 6 of them are for people in the mode of ignorance, 6 are for those in the mode of passion, 6 are those in the mode of goodness. And then there's the Amala Purana, the Sriimad Bhagvatam, which was for the Paramahamsas. Nigama kalpatara galitam palam shuka mukharamrita drava samyutam. It's for those who have given up the idea of enjoying the varieties created by the 3 modes of material nature. They only want the real thing. And we find that certain Vedas offer sense gratification to entice those who are wantonly engaged in sense gratification, and to a regulated kind of sense gratification, at least offer it your allegiance to some superior authority and realize that it's coming through somebody like a demigod. In common parlance, I've seen that those who are addicted to drugs, especially heroin, it's highly addicting. And there's a system the government has where they give an interim drug to get people off of heroin. It's called methadone. Methadone is administered only by the government. You can't get it anywhere else. And people who want to get off addiction to heroin, which is a very dangerous thing, not getting off it, but taking it is, and they sign up for methadone, they line up and the government gives them some intoxication, but they are able to measure it, exactly how much they're taking, and it's highly regulated. And over time, one can gradually reduce the amount and come off of methadone, theoretically. And so in a similar way, the Vedas offer some sense gratification to people at various times of their sojourn in the material world so that they can come off the intoxication of material nature in a regulated way, regulated by the Vedas, and then gradually come to full knowledge of their relationship with Krishna. That's the idea behind it. So Krishna also mentions in the 5th canto of the Sriimad Bhagavatam that sometimes people who have come by good fortune to devotional service may still want material benedictions, which is a contradiction in terms. And satyam dishati artitam artito nirnam naivartato yad punar artito yata swayam vidatam bhajatam anichatam ichapi danam nijat padapalavam. This is a verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke to Sanatana Goswami. It's from the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it says that Krishna is very helpful when one takes to he's always helpful. And I'll mention that in a minute. No, I'll mention it now. As is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we should become aware of the fact that if we want sense gratification in the material world, Krishna gives us an unlimited opportunity to enjoy sense gratification. It's a facility. He makes it easy for us. As an example, there are 8,400,000 species of life. Do you think that's enough to try out interacting with the material nature? This is probably more than enough, right? And so he's facilitating the living entity by fulfilling the living entity's desire since the time immemorial. Sapari gach chukram akayam avranam asnavinam shudham apapa vidam kavirmanasji paripur swayambur yatat yatatortan vyaradashas patibhya samabhyaha. This verse from the Sri Upanishad mentions he's the supreme intelligence, the Purusha, and he's fulfilling each living entity's desire since a time immemorial, whatever they want, he facilitates. So the same point is made in the Srimad Bhagvatam, that it asks a question. Since he facilitates material sense gratification so readily to every living being, do you think he wouldn't give an equal, if not more, amount of facilitation to those who want him in devotional service? And the answer is, given samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti napriya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna answers the question. He says, if you just want sense gratification, I'll give it to you proportionately to what you desire and you deserve, and you'll get that desire fulfilled. You may not like it, but you're going to get it. But if you change your mind by the association of devotees that you want to take to devotional service, ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya, then he says, then I'm going to really give you all facility. We also know from the same section of the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Ananyas chintayantumam ye jana paripasate tesham nityabdhyuktanam yogakshema mahamyaham. I'll personally take care of your needs externally and internally, tesham satata yuktanam, etc. There's a way in which he gives full intelligence, full facility to those who want to advance. But keep in mind that he's already facilitating material life, whatever we want. So why wouldn't he give full facility for spiritual life? So that's an important concept to keep in one's mind, that Krishna will facilitate us fully in that way. So we then move to 7.4.25, which is already marked. Thank you, Shastra Sarprada. And here we have not the verse I was looking for, but it's not your fault, it's mine. Here, 7.7.42. And this is Prahlad Maharaj giving us a philosophical basis for understanding sense gratification. And he says the following. In this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress. True or false? Yeah. I was walking with Satyadev once when we were at Black Friday. It was many years ago. And we were walking together down the street and it was packed. And I said, everyone's looking for some material enjoyment. And he said, actually, everyone's looking more readily to stave off suffering than to try to get sense gratification. But both are going on. In this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, his conditions of stress begin. Did somebody gasp? And so those give some philosophical basis for one who is engaged in the material world because of being in a material body, having awareness of the fact that as soon as I start looking for happiness, that's when I start to suffer. And then we can also, through pratyaksha, as Krishna says in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, to Uddhava, that we should use pratyaksha, anuman, shabda, and aitya. These four sources of evidence so we can understand the world. to see that everything in the material world's temporary, and our engagement with it has a beginning and an end. And therefore, he says, we should feel a sense of detachment, because we know that it's here today and gone tomorrow. And to that end, Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev, notes that happiness is elusive. And this is at 7.9.25, where he says, in this material world, every living entity desires some future happiness, which is exactly like a mirage in the desert. Where is water in the desert? Or in other words, where is happiness in this material world? So he asks the question for everyone to answer. Kutra shisha shruti sukham mrigatrishni rupa. He says that the happiness we conceive of in this material world that we want to enjoy is a mrigatrishni rupa. It's the form like that of a mirage, where you see a lake. It has a form, it seems to have substance, but it's a mrigatrishni. The deer have a taste for it. So they are thirsty, they run for it, but they never get there. So he's saying that, where is it? Kutra, Ashisha, where's the benediction you're seeking in the material world? It never comes, and if you get a benediction, it's actually not maintainable. So Prahlad saying elsewhere in his prayers, I already seen it with my father. He had everything, he got the benediction he wanted, but within a second, he lost everything. So why endeavor for that? Why make it so much the ultimate goal of your life? And another admonition given by Krishna is in the Bhagavad Gita at 130, if you can put that up. First chapter, 30th verse. And if you haven't heard this lecture, Prabhupada's lecture on this verse, I highly recommend it. I listen to it regularly. That's not 30. Oh, yes, it is. Na cha shaknom yavastatum brahmativa chame manaha nimitani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. And here are the words nimitani cha pashyami viparitani are very important. Because here it says, what you think of in your mind, to look at the translation. I'm now unable to stand here any longer. Arjuna is speaking. I'm forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. So, nimitani cha pashyami viparitani means that I wanted something for myself and I had a vision of what it was going to be, and now I'm getting the exact opposite. Nimitani means the opposite of what I thought. Viparitani means the opposite of what I thought I was going to get. So this is the fake out of material life, that I conceive I want something, but then as soon as I get it, it's, wait a minute, I didn't want that. It's like, too late, you asked for it, there it is. There you have it. So how does the Bhagavatam give us, in ways that we can identify with, scenarios that help us to become detached from the material world? Vikalpatsa virajate. That's the verse we mentioned earlier about Shruti pratyaksham aitiyam anamanam chatushtayam. There's 4 ways to observe the world so that you can see that it's temporary, and therefore said vikalpat savirajate. Virajate means you should become a little detached and not so heated up and engaged in sense gratification, because you see, I'm going to get the opposite result. So obviously we have Hiranyakashipu, who I already mentioned, who's more desires of sense gratification than Hiranyakashipu, who was given a more full benediction for material enjoyment than Hiranyakashipu. You can't think of anybody, because he covered everything you possibly can. His contract with Brahma was seemingly foolproof. and it covered everything that he could think of. And he had it seemingly for some time, but it completely collapsed, and he got the opposite result of what he wanted. And in another scenario, in other scenarios that are representative of major desires that one may have for enjoying the world, we have Chitraketu. And in Chitraketu's case, he was a king, and our acharyas point out in their commentaries that in speaking about one's relationship with the material world, we often hear stories in the Bhagvatam about kings. Of course, nowadays everybody lives like a king or queen. In fact, we have more facility for sense gratification than ancient kings and queens. Indoor plumbing was not a big thing back then. There were bedpans, and I'm not going to go into detail, but that's what you had. And refrigerators, forget about it. Air conditioning, nope. We have every middle class or even lower middle class family has an air conditioner, indoor plumbing, etc. You want food, you don't really have to lift a finger, you just have to go to the store and pick it up, etc., etc. In any case, at the time of the Bhagavatam, those who were kings and queens were known to be the supreme enjoyers of the material world. That's why we say, live like a king or live like a queen. So now we take the stories of those who were in that position, and we see that whatever they tried for in this world was equally as unsuccessful as anybody else. And Prabhupada mentions that when a very wealthy person gets typhoid, he or she suffers as much as a poor person who gets typhoid. And everybody gets something, because it's the world of suffering, the material world. And so Chitraketu wanted to have an heir. And this is a strong desire that many people have. I want an heir to carry on the name of the family. And I'd like to have somebody that I can show my opulence to and share my opulence with, this deeply rooted desire. And Chitraketu prayed for this, and then he received a benediction which he couldn't handle, which came with a caveat. Don't you hate caveats? You'd rather hear you can have it with unabated enjoyment and no strings attached. That's what we're looking for. There's always strings attached whenever there's when we have a vested interest. So he had a vested interest in enjoying, and Narada gave him the benediction. Was it Narada? Angira. He brought Narada back with him later. Angira Rishi gave him benediction that he could have a son, but he gave him the caveat that you'll get the enjoyment of having a son, but it's not going to be so nice because it'll be difficult for you. And he thought, I can handle that. And that's one of the thoughts of the intrepid living entity in the material world, to say, whatever it is, I'll be stoic and I'll handle it somehow or other. And to defeat that subtle desire within the heart of every living being, we have this story which unfolds in such a remarkable way. And that is that there in the palace, when there were thousands of queens and none of them received a child from the king, as soon as one of the queens had the child, by the benediction of Angira, then they conspired to kill the child out of envy. Now the scene that unfolds because of the news that spread that the infant had died in its crib, in which Chitraketu, upon hearing the alarm raised by the maidservants, came running in and noticed that the child was still and not breathing. And his grief was so much that he was wailing with his mouth wide open. such a painful situation. And the pain was so great that he fainted. The scene was so shocking to him that how could such a reversal of come to me in my kingly life, that everything I wanted, which is this child, has now been reversed. Viparitani, I got just the opposite of what I wanted. His consciousness couldn't bear it, therefore it just shut off and he fell to the floor unconscious. But then he came back again and noticed it, saw the scene again. You know how if you have a dream and you're like, wake up, and you wake up and then you say, okay, that was a dream. He woke up and he saw, it's not a dream, and then he fainted again. That scene alone, consumed by the listener, instills within the listener's heart a sense of the agony that takes place by fully giving one's heart and soul to the material world. Doesn't mean that we're not naturally affectionate to family members and we don't try to maintain our children, our parents, or whatever. But we should also, virajo, we have some sense that this is not reality. It's the unfoldment of material life. And if I fully invest in it, the agony becomes more intense. And with Chitraketu then, he had an opportunity, and so do we, to then observe it objectively, because Angira came back with Narada, and at that time, the sages induced the soul who had been in the body of the child to come back. And the sages said to the soul, why'd you leave so early? And look at the distress of your parents. And he said, sorry, but I don't recognize these parents. I've had so many. Now this is what we get in the Bhagavad Gita perspective that we're just passing through. And when he hears from the child, actually it's the soul speaking in the body of a child, which is more accurate, then he realizes this idea that I had, this is my child, I'm this body, this is my family, this is my wealth, it all took on a completely different perspective to him, and he became detached and open to hearing from Narada Muni about what to do next, which was to take a mantra, which he became very successful at chanting. So, I don't know about you, but after hearing that story a couple times, especially the scenes where he's wailing with a wide open mouth and fainting because of his awareness of the departure of his son, his main investment in this world, gave me a different perspective on life. And it's something that stays within the heart, within the mind. A couple more points. Gajendra is iconic in another way, in that I may have a situation in this world, everyone does, where I feel comfortable. And Gajendra, although he is an elephant, received that body because of previous life's curse, is notably content. Because when you're an elephant, when you walk on the forest path, the underbrush crackles. Now, everyone wants that. That's why a lot of people wear boots. If you notice, when people who wear boots, they walk down the sidewalk, they clack them really loud, like clickety-clack, clickety-clack. And it's a mood that Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu both had. They were walking around and they were stout and strong. They were empowered by the material energy to be very powerful, and they thought, here we come. People want that. They want to walk in the room and have everyone go like, ooh. stand down, here they come. And that was the mood of Gajendra. He had such power that when he walked through the jungle, everyone got out of the way. That feels good to a conditioned soul. It's like, here I come, now people move. And when I walk, the underbrush crackles under my weight. And with that, he felt at ease to go in the water and bathe his family members. Now this sets up a scenario where, okay, you've got everything you want. And what is that? Full tank of gas, refrigerator's full, no more debt. Everyone loves you, and everything's fine. And then comes the crocodile onto his leg. It's so startling and it's so sudden. And how could this happen to me? I'm so powerful. I have everything. This is one of the inevitable, startling moments in the life of every soul in this world who identifies with the body and thinks, I've got it made. I went to the best school, or not, whatever it may be, everything's lined up, and then the crocodile comes. And then there's this reckoning point in Gajendra's struggle with the crocodile, which I've mentioned many times, that he realizes that I can't win, and I'm helpless. Then he prays. And there's a way in which the Bhagavatam shows us, if you feel delight when you walk and the underbrush crackles under your feet, if you feel leisurely, happy, the happy of the leisure you've gotten by your material advancement, watch out. Because padam padam yad vipadam natesham. When we hear that story, where else are you going to hear it? Well, of course, you hear it every day. People coming into mishaps, but there's a sense of, well, at least it wasn't me. And of course, people have empathy. They feel sorry, try to help out in some way. But ultimately, the Bhagavatam frames this in such a way that it instills in our heart a sense of, let's not get comfortable here in the material world and think that I've got it made and everything's going to be okay. Better to preemptively take the mood of Gajendra after the crocodile gets on his leg. Better to preemptively, says the intelligent person who hears these stories, take the position of Chitraketu after he surrendered and took the mantra and began to chant sincerely. This instills in us both a sense of detachment from the material world, which is the sufferings of which are categorically applied even to the richest people, people with the most advantageous situations, as well as the poor people. Everyone, it's an equal opportunity suffering agent, this material world. And then one comes to this sense of, let me surrender to Krishna. Removing from our heart, by hearing story after story, the sense of raga, or intense attachment to the material world. Now we'll take a few reflections or questions. Yes, Devavrata Prabhu.
I was, during the class, actually throughout the class, the principle which you were bringing up, transformation through hearing, I was thinking of a verse specifically from the 11th canto of the Sriimad Bhagvatam. And it goes, Yata yatatma parimrijate so matpunyagata shravanabhidanai tata tata pashanti vastu shukshman chakshur yata vanjana samprayuktam. This is 11:14:26. And the translation is, when a diseased eye is treated with medicinal ointment, it gradually recovers its power to see. Similarly, as a conscious living entity cleanses himself of material contamination by hearing and chanting the pious narrations of my glories, he regains his ability to see me, the absolute truth, in my subtle spiritual form. So, yeah, this is the verse I was thinking of for your whole presentation. But then I also had a question. It seems like living entities many times, there has to be some shake-up in order for them to take the process of hearing and chanting seriously. And that's highlighted in the stories of Chitraketu and Gajendra. So how do we actually act preemptively rather than having to go through experience? Because although we may hear it, there may be a chance that we don't take it so seriously, like it just doesn't go deeply into the heart and we don't act on taking preemptive measures. So how can we actually generate that within ourselves?
Well, it works simultaneously, because although it's very difficult to put oneself into this abject sense of detachment from the material world, since we already have our patterns of life and we are engaged with our life. When we fortify ourselves by hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam, as events unfold in our life, we have that basis of knowledge and the feeling, even more importantly, that it instills in our heart. For instance, I've mentioned twice now the feeling that I get when I hear of Chitraketu wailing with a wide open mouth. Just that scene itself reminds me of the agony of reversals that take place in the material world and what it feels like. And when we already have that, then when the inevitable reversals do come, then we have that shelter and it reconfirms. So it is a synergistic process. In other words, vidyam cha yas tadvedo bayam saha vidyayam ratum tirtva vidyayam ratum ashnute. Sri Upanishad says you should cultivate this knowledge of the temporality of the material world as an example, one aspect. And you should also cultivate knowledge of your eternal position, because the two of them combined together have this synergistic effect. So knowing what's coming, and then when it comes, realizing that you're fortified. We may still think, how will I deal with reversals in my life? But we'll then realize that because I'm living the life of the Bhagavat, then hearing from the Bhagavatam, when they do come, I do have shelter. And that gives more maturity in one's practice too, because one realizes that I'm fully supported by transcendental knowledge. So both things will be there, and that makes our entire life didactic, or all the experiences in our life didactic. We learn from them. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Yes, Hugo. You have to pray. No, pray. Please let the microphone come on. See?
Something I think of is that throughout society, throughout people's lives, it seems that people generally just kind of get that the world is suffering. I think like in Western culture, we have the story of Hansel and Gretel. They got trapped by the witch with the candy house. They didn't have any chains or they weren't trapped there, but they just couldn't get enough sweets. They just kept eating and eating and getting fatter, and they couldn't leave. I think of the story of the genie and the lamp, right? The 3 wishes, and someone always messes themselves up on the 3rd wish, and it destroys their lives, and that's the story we find in the Middle East. I think of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden with God, and then it's just not enough. They go to the one tree that's forbidden to them. And even I feel like my experience is when I speak with people in the world, everyone just has this sense like, man, these taxes and the family responsibilities and the society and this like traffic that I hit on the way to work, everyone seems to kind of have a sense that life is just difficult and challenging. And yeah, I appreciate what you said, the intrepid spirit soul, the like, I can handle it. That for me was that clarifying point where there's this sense in people's minds, there's in one sense an acceptance of like, wow, like life is just challenging and struggling, and the more I try to make a comfortable life, the more difficult it becomes. At the same time, there's this like dissonance within the heart of, well, it's good enough, it's comfortable enough, it's happy enough, I can make it. So I was reflecting on that dissonance between the logic and the emotion.
Yeah, dissonance between logic and emotion. And therefore, it's not enough just to hear the material world's a suffering place. There has to be higher ground. And that's what's woven into the stories. For instance, we have Chitriketu. How does he respond to this? He's given a pathway to transcend and understand his relationship with Krishna, and he achieves that. And with Gajendra, we're shown at the end of his traumatic interlude with the crocodile that there's safety at the end by prayer. And Krishna comes to save Gajendra. And therefore we're not left with this existential sense of life's just a series of miseries. And that's the human plight. Because some leave us there. You know, Herman Melville, for instance, notably in Moby Dick, he's an existentialist and just like, you're crying into the void, there's nobody there. But in the Bhagavatam, there is somebody there. You call in, Gajendra calls it out, and he's not even sure who he's calling to. And the Bhagavatam's encouraging us, yes, there's somebody there. Krishna is responsive, and he cares about you. So, nightmares are hard. When we're living in a nightmare, or it doesn't even have to be a nightmare, that's a pretty high standard for a bad dream. You know, even if it's a tough situation, we feel it in that moment of that we're suffering. But then the relief comes when we understand reality. So the Bhagavatam is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. So it doesn't leave us in that existential angst. It doesn't just say life's suffering, try to be stoic and deal with it, although that's part of it. We should be stoic. But how to be stoic is to understand that I have a different life. I'm not really part of the world. One of the phrases from the Vedas that I find enlightening and also reassuring is asango hyayam purushaha, which is, you know, little jiva, you have nothing to do with the material world. It's like the person in the dream who's woken up and says, okay, it's over. You're okay. You're right here. It's okay. So we get both sides. And ultimately we need that higher ground along with the sambandha that the material world is not our home, and that's why it's a suffering place. Thank you for the observations. Yes, Rajeshwari Leela.
I was reminded of the verse 2:10:1. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Atra Sargo Visargascha, Sthanam Poshanam Utaya, Manvantara Ishanukatha, Nirodho Muktir Ashraya. So, Shukadeva Goswami is summarizing how Srimad Bhagvatam shows us different topics, gives us different topics, like creation of the universe, subcreation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord, creative impetus, the change of manos, the signs of God, returning home, back to Godhead, liberation, and Sarvam Bonam. The reason I was thinking of this verse is because the signs of God, that aspect of the Srimad Bhagavatam, when we are struggling in this world, we tend to ask questions, why? And when we are facing conflicts, we try to understand people around us. How can I avoid conflict with the people? And then there is a whole science of understanding personalities. And here, this is a science of God, who's a supreme personality. And Bhagavad Gita says, if once we know the Creator, we understand who He is, then there is nothing more to be known, because when we understand how Krishna thinks, how He works through this whole creation, and how the different stories through the Bhagavatam, they weave us into what is his consciousness and how different devotees, respond to that, how they grow through their journeys. It gradually brings us to that stage of understanding what is Krishna's plan and why did he do what he did, and why and how he is going to think and how he is going to act. So there's this faith that becomes deeper and deeper through the process of understanding how the Lord thinks through these stories. And then there is a sense of complete happiness for the soul, because there is a reconnection, the yoga, connecting back to our source of happiness. The whole suffering saga starts when we disconnect ourselves with the source, and Srimad Bhagvatam reconnects us. So it's a supreme yoga.
That was a really good summary. Thank you. Yes, Shraddha.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, thank you so much for the wonderful class and the exciting topic. I was just thinking that you mentioned the 4 ways in which we can gain the knowledge, and I was tying that to the life of Chitraketu and the story of Chitraketu, as to how he starts with the Etiya, which is the tradition. It was that a king should have a son, so he went that route. And then, of course, Angira tells him that the son is going to bring him both happiness and unhappiness, but he says, I can handle it. But then he has Praman. He sees that, Prataksha. He sees the son dying and he feels that. And then when that happens, Angira brings in Narad as the Shabda, as the authority. And of course, and then the child comes back to life and starts speaking that way. That's when he infers and says, okay, I have Anuman that there's no good in this, what I'm trying to pursue. So it was so interesting to watch how in one story he goes through all the 4 stages there.
Yeah, it's an important observation also, that coming to maturity in our relationship with the material world and with Krishna requires all of these elements. That's why Krishna says, Shruti Pratyakshamaityam, Anamanam, Chatushtayam. These 4 things you should utilize fully to understand, what is it? Let's say, Pramanesh. You should take this Praman, all these 4 forms of evidence. Prame, Avanastana. Avanastana means that you should understand that this world's not stable. It's not a stable place. Vikalpat savirajite, and therefore you should maintain this awareness of the material world. Now, I just point out that it doesn't, having this knowledge and an awareness of the temporality of the material world and the suffering that comes from material enjoyment and so forth, does it make us antisocial, nor does it make us prickly or uncaring, unloving. In fact, Krishna says the opposite in the Bhagavad Gita. He says in the 6th chapter of the Gita that the most elevated yogi is the one who has an awareness of what everyone's going through, because he or she has been through it and processed it properly, and therefore they have more empathy than anyone. Partly because they have the wherewithal to help others, and also because they understand what is the existential suffering of the soul in the material world. They understand it best. And so my point is, this is not, the Bhagavatam is well integrated and brings us to a mature stage of understanding, not a partial stage of understanding. We know both the suffering of the material world and the reason that we're suffering, the psychological conditions, but we also know how to engage in such a way that we feel fully satisfied. Both aspects are there. And then in our relationships in this world, because what I'm getting to is when people have an incomplete realization they may be dysfunctional in the world and not be able to interact with others in a compassionate way because they become overwrought by the idea of the suffering in the material world. For instance, they may say, well, these relationships are the cause of my suffering, therefore I won't care for you. But that is like somebody who's the ward of somebody else. When it's, well, you're misapplied, one may say, well, it's temporary anyway, and you're the cause of my suffering, therefore one may not show full love or affection. But one who has realization of the soul's plight in the material world, the ultimate goal of life, is more mature in interacting with all kinds of people, more empathetic, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, and able to understand what everyone's going through, and therefore has more compassion. Just repeating what I said. So the case I'm making is that this knowledge is not meant to be, it shouldn't be misapplied, and nor should it make one neurotic and uncaring. That's not what this kind of detachment does in relationship to Krishna consciousness. It should make one more caring and more able to administer the kind of advice and love and care for everyone who's within one's purview that is actually helpful and not superficial. Okay, yes, Prabhu. And then I'll go to Yashoda Vatsal.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for a very nice class. I was thinking of, because we were talking about knowledge, and then how knowledge helps us to detach ourselves. But but I was thinking on more practical level that when something tragic happens in your life, then it so happens that when you try to give more knowledge, it actually has a reverse effect. And I think it's just after some time has passed, then this knowledge goes into your head, and then you realize, okay, this knowledge makes sense. So how do you deal with that? Because in many cases, we have also seen actually, for example, in Mahabharata, when all these characters, they relate in a very human level, and sometimes it so happens that it's more human feelings that come up, but at the same time, this knowledge, you have to have a calm head to get this knowledge in. So how do we deal with this?
The best doctors have a good bedside manner. And it's proven empirically that when a doctor is compassionate, caring, loving to the patient, good bedside manner, that the patient heals more quickly. So doctors who are worth their salt should know that when people come into a hospital, for instance, their blood pressure is going to go up. They take their blood pressure and it goes, like, oh, that's a little high. It's like, of course it's high because you're in the hospital. Who wants to be here? And those who are administering medicine, if they have an idea that, well, let's just say the doctor's already been through something, him or herself, and knows what it's like to be strapped to a bed in the hospital, and then compassionately deals with the patient feels open, and the guards come down. If it's all just about, like, here, take this, then sometimes there's an adverse effect and one feels demoralized by the impersonal approach. So in being compassionate, atmau pamyena sarvatra samam pashiti arjuna sukham va yarivadukam sayogi paramo mataha. Krishna says the best way to administer is to be atmau pamyena, compassionate, realize what people are going through, empathize, Krishna says, with them. Atmau pamyena says, say, I've been through this, I know how much it hurts, so be very loving in the way that you administer the information. In fact, it's more about being present there with somebody, and when they're in need, people need philosophy at that time, because those who are in some situation where they're faced with death, as an example, they need some bedside manner, and they also need some advice that you're not your body. It's very helpful. Just like if you bought a new Tesla and you're very nervous about it, and then the worst of your fears came to pass because when you came out of the Whole Foods, somebody had bashed in the back end of it and they drove off. And then you come home all morose. And then your friend says, well, it's just a car. At least you weren't in it, and the kids weren't there, so everyone's okay. That's philosophical. And we need something like that, along with the compassionate administering of that advice. As what are you going to say? Nothing? Or make up some platitude? And Prabhupada was, when, for instance, Jayananda Prabhu left the world, everyone wanted to know what happened, what's happening. And Prabhupada his first reaction was very straightforward, that if he was thinking of Krishna, then he'll go back to Godhead. If he wasn't, then he'll come back into a devotee family and he'll continue from there, straightforwardly Bhagavad Gita. When my grandmother died, I went to the church, and the priest said, well, she's in a better place right now. And I was thinking, what's the pramanam on that one? It was not satisfying, because, well, I was thinking, how do you know? You didn't know my grandmother. And why are you just saying it? So, I mean, all glories to you, Grandma, but where's the science behind it? So there has to be some pramanam from Shruti Pratyakshamaitiyam, etc., in order to understand it clearly. We'll go to the last one, which was Yashoda Vatsal Prabhu, who's online.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. My, enjoyment propensity of the Jiva is actually the real cause of his suffering. That was my learning today. Thank you again for reminding me of the same. And I was also thinking about rather yesterday when I was reading. We are reading Bhagavad Gita, all translations based on your last week's reading. We and my whole family got very much encouraged to read all the verses of Bhagavad Gita, all the translations of Bhagavad Gita first. So, and yesterday we were reading 6th chapter, 20 to 23, and I was just reading there that yam ladva chaparam labhyam manyate nadikam tata yasmin stito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. And I was just reading the translation there when it really touched me. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. So that actually touched me, that there is going to be a lot of challenges around in this material world. But if I want to be really happy and not the materially happy, I have to be in that cautiousness. And you already took the 6th chapter reference. Thanks for giving me that. Thank you.
Thank you for such a wise contribution to the conversation. And thanks everybody for attending this morning. And may we, dear Srila Prabhupada, if you so desire, may we imbibe the teachings of the Srimad Bhagvatam in such a way that we very naturally become attracted to Krishna and aware of our non-relationship with the material world, so that we may heed the advice of Yashoda Vatsal Prabhu, which he gave from the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that we're not affected by the changes of the material world, because we're fully focused on our ultimate goal of life, which is to develop our relationship with Krishna. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer, in whole or in part. Please say Hare Krishna. And now we have a special presentation from our Vaishnava youth, and there's a fine-looking young devotee over there. Look how nicely he's dressed and everything. So we'll rearrange the stage here, and then we'll welcome him to come up and give his talk. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I just got to get my computer in. Thank you. Did you save it? Yes. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Papa. Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for a very wonderful class on meditations from the 7th canto. All Prahlad Maharaj's realizations are extremely deep. After after completing the 6 cantos, we kind of just start to get a hang of a little bit of Krishna's glories. And then Prahlad Maharaj gives us such deep realizations that he has as a Paramahamsa, as a Mahabhagavad devotee at a very young age. So thank you for giving us deep insights into how Prahlad Maharaj gives us such deep wisdom. So today's presentation is by Atharva Singh, and he's just joined Kaishora class. And his topic is, do scriptures have multiple meanings?
Do you start? Hare Krishna, dear devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Today I speak on the topic, do the scriptures have multiple meanings? From the book Bhagavad Viveka by His Grace Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. It's not working. It's not working. Oh, okay. So before we start with any spirituality, let's look at this simple grammar word called homographs. So homographs are words with the same spelling but different meanings. So like bat as in the bat bird, and bat as in the baseball bat. And then we have like seal as in the animal seal, and the seal as in we put in a postcard to like ship it across the world or something. And like this, we have innumerable words in the English language, and we see this in our day-to-day life. Let's understand this idea using a prism. When sunlight passes through a prism, it splits into many colors. In the same way, the message of the scriptures, like the Bhagavatam, can show different meanings to different people. Some see one meaning, some see a few, and some see many, depending on their understanding and desire. The key point is, like a prism, scriptures reveal messages at different levels for everyone, from beginners to advanced devotees. Epitome of all scriptures, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's see how this book is the epitome of all scriptures. Srimad Bhagavatam is the book from Srimad Bhagavatam is the book form of Krishna and is none different than from him. Krishna Tulya Bhagavatam. Srila Vasudev wrote many scriptures, 4 Vedas, 18 Puranas, 108 Upanishads, and Mahabharata, and still felt inner unhappiness. It was not until that he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam that he felt completely satisfied. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3 says, the Bhagavatam is the mature fruit of all Vedic knowledge. It was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami, making it even sweeter and enjoyable for everyone, even liberated souls. So for you guys who don't know about the parrot and the tree, so on the tree, if there's a fruit and a parrot eats it from the tree only, the fruit becomes more sweeter. And in the spiritual world, Sukadeva Goswami is the personal parrot of Radharani. And so he said, because he said the Bhagavatam from his lips, it becomes even sweeter. Bhagavatam's diverse audience. Srimad Bhagavatam speaks to different people at different spiritual levels. We can see this in Lord Ram's pastimes. He played many roles. He played ideal, son, husband, disciple, brother, and father. Let's take an example from the Ramayana and understand this more. When Lord Ram gave up the throne and went to the forest, how beginners will understand this? They might understand this as sticking to their duties and principles even when times are hard. Intermediate learners see him as the ideal son sacrificing his rights for his father. And then let's take another example from the Ramayana only. When Sita Devi was kidnapped, beginners might see this as Lord Ram's suffering and separation from Sita Devi. Intermediate learners see him as the ideal husband trying to rescue Sita. And advanced devotees understand it as Viplambharasa, the spiritual feelings of separation between the Lord and his eternal consort. Remember, by studying the scriptures with the help of true teachers, we see that different commentaries can complement or even seem to contradict each other. Let's take one example. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained the first verse of Bhagavatam in 5 wonderful ways. Another example, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the Atma Ram verse Bhagavatam 1.7.10 in 61 different ways. Yes, you heard me right, 61 different ways. Bhagavatam 10.14.29. Lord Balram says that only by the Lord's mercy we can understand him, not just by studying the Vedas for years. So we have to learn the Vedas and not speculate them. We have to try to understand them, not question them. The book that does multitasking. Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Lord Krishna, Krishna Tulya Bhagavatam. Every verse and every symbol has many meanings. Chaitanya Chaitamritam Madhya 24.318. Prati shloke prati akshare nana artha prabhava. Which Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur compares the Bhagavatam to a lamp, the sun, a sweet fruit, and Mohini Murti, showing its power to enlighten and nourish and attract us. Let's see how the Bhagavatam is compared to a lamp. A lamp removes darkness in a room. In the same way, Srimad Bhagavatam removes ignorance from our hearts by revealing the Lord's general pastimes and stories about creation and destruction. However, there's an important point. Just as a lamp can remove darkness in a room but cannot give the full brightness of the sun or daylight, the Bhagavatam gives different levels of light and understanding to different seekers. Next, let's see how the Bhagavatam is compared to the sun. The Bhagavatam not only removes darkness from our hearts, but just like the bright sun, it destroys demonic conceptions and atheistic mentalities throughout the entire world and brings joy to the devotees. Next, let's see how the Bhagavatam is compared to a sweet fruit. It is a sweet, ripe fruit because it reveals the spiritual nectar of the Lord's Rupa, form, guna, qualities, lila, pastimes, his devotees, and the love and devotion, bhakti and prema between them. Just as I said, this fruit becomes more sweeter because Sukdev Goswami said it with his own lips since he's a parrot. Let's see how the Bhagavatam is compared to Mohini Murti. For those of you devotees who forgot the story of Mohini Murti, let's have a quick recap. When the demons and the demigods were churning the milk ocean to get the Amrita, the demons stole all the Amrita when they got it. Then Lord Vishnu saw this and incarnated as Mohini Murti. When Mohini Murti was so gorgeous that when she went in front of the demons gave up all their Amrita and gave it right to Mohini Murti. Then Mohini Murti took the Amrita and distributed it all the Amrita to all the demigods who deserved it because they were on the path of dharma and the demons were on the path of adharma. So just as Mohini Murti gave nectar based on qualification, Bhagavatam reveals its meanings according to the reader's sincerity and spiritual readiness. That's why we should be very spiritually ready, and we should also be sincere on reading the Bhagavatam so we can understand it in the advanced levels. Let's have a conclusion. So, a balanced approach. What we should do after looking at this presentation? We should seek multiple perspectives from authorized teachers. So authorized teachers should not be any like material teachers like in people in school. You should have a bona fide guru that should teach you authentic things. Study faithfully with guidance. So we should study the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and many more holy books with the guidance of a bona fide guru. What our goal should be after looking at the presentation? We should transform consciousness, develop love for Krishna. So from our material consciousness of trying to earn money and trying to like be successful in life, we should convert that consciousness into Krishna consciousness. Because if Krishna wants, he can make you the richest person alive. Okay, so a fun fact about the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam meets us wherever we are. So if you are at a beginner level, you can understand the Bhagavatam as a beginner. And as an intermediate, you can understand as an intermediate. And advanced or divine perspectives, you can understand the Bhagavatam in the topmost way. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. You guys can stop now. Okay.
Artha.
So please ask if you have any questions.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have some observations and also one tiny little piece of advice or correction. May I?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You give more information per minute than any other speaker that I've heard. These are not this is accolades. It was very informative, what you gave. You put in a lot in a short amount of time. I liked the way you started it with giving us those symbols and showing how they have relationship. It was an interesting way to start the talk.
Yeah.
I especially liked it when you went off script and you looked up and gave your own commentary. It was nice. You gave a lot of the information, but especially when you interacted personally and you had obvious engagement with the material and you told us in your own words. That was very powerful and nice combination.
Yes, thank you very much.
One little correction, there is no such thing as an epitome. It's epitome. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
many people mispronounce it because of the way it looks. You know that word?
No.
It's epitome. If you put it up, I'll show you.
Yeah. Oh, disconnected.
If you back up to about the third slide. There. See the word at the top?
Yeah.
You said epitome of all scriptures, but it's pronounced epitome.
Epitome. Okay. Thank you.
Free
Epitome.
advice. I liked your stature,
Yeah.
the way you held forth, the way you prepared for the whole thing. It was very effective.
Thank
You
you.
have a very good countenance.
Yes.
People like you. You're an audience pleaser, so please keep giving talks.
Mhm.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
I have one question.
Yes, Maharaj.
Well done.
Thank you.
I believe you said we should strive to understand the scriptures, and then you said not question them.
Mhm.
But if we have a question about something we read, is that okay? Can we ask a question?
Yeah, it's okay, but you should ask your guru, not anyone. And then your guru will clarify it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tadiyasya Prabhu.
Atharva, seeing the transformation in you from a hard to deal kid to a good speaker of Bhagvatam is amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Does anyone else have any other comments, questions?
None.
So, thank you, Atharva. There you go. I think it's important to mention, actually, Atharva was sick and probably not going to give this presentation, but then last 2 days, things turned around and he decided. So I told him it's okay if he has to read a little bit. He didn't get chance to, memorize or say things from memory. So that's the reason why he was reading out quite a bit. But I really appreciate the effort that you've put in, and also appreciate the effort that your parents put in. They're probably the family that lives the farthest from ISV. The love for Madan Mohan brings them from Mantika, which is 2 hours drive, one side. So they come every Sunday and bring Atharva for Sunday school.
Yeah.
It's a very commendable effort because it's not, you can't fake it. This is the drive, the love that they have for the deities, and the desire for Atharva to get good Krishna conscious education. So thank you so much to the parents for putting in all your effort. It takes a village to raise a child. So thank you so much for bringing him. And thank you to all for appreciating Atharva. As we know, he's a very energetic child, and we pray that Krishna empowers you to channel all your energy to spread his glories.
Thank you.
And now we have 2 announcements. One is from Bhakti Community, Pavani Bhakti.
What a beautiful day today. I was so happy to see Balram Gopal and Devavrata today, big milestone. And I was thinking there's so much potential on the streets when we give books. And the miracle happens when you connect the person who you're giving the books to a devotee. How Balram Gopal was connected to Devavrata, and how there's every person is a potential pure devotee. We have heard that, and I could see that in reality today, like how the growth can happen so fast when we connect the newcomers to a newcomer. So I would highly encourage you, when you give books or when you have anybody who would benefit from spiritual life and who you have the compassion for, please connect them to a devotee. And Bhakti community is a great beginning for anybody to start slow and make incremental progress. We had a program last night. Many people came. And there was one person who has been regularly coming. She might be 60 plus. And The program was finishing, and around 9 o'clock she decided that she has to leave now, and there were other people still talking around. And I said, yeah, okay, that's it, so good. She said, no, I have a dance class now, and it's arranged by the community, and it's a ball dance, and from 9 to 12, I'm going to do that because the people who come to that dance class, I've been watching them for 10 years, they don't even age. They are so beautiful and they are so young. And I was very happy. Wow, this is amazing. I'm so impressed you're going to do this. Like, she had appetite to go after the whole program to a dance class. And I was like, hey, haha, this is a great moment for us to start a Hare Krishna dance party in the night. People are willing to go to places. People have a lot of appetite. We are just underestimating them. So that gave me a lot of hope that, somebody can start a dance party at night and we do the whole kirtan and dance, and people would be very happy to join. So that was really inspiring for me to see that people have potential, they have appetite, and let's keep that in mind. It's very important to know that, and just invite them shamelessly, fearlessly. Just invite them and they'll come. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We are in the middle of our marathon, actually last leg, because our marathon ends in the first week of January, and we have at least 79,000 Bhagavad Gitas to distribute. And I must say we are still inching towards our goal. We have a long way to go. But just seeing the enthusiasm of the devotees trying their best, if each one does a little bit, it actually feels like it's not much effort, but a lot of things get done. Just wanted to share a few updates of how different devotees are trying different ways on helping for the marathon. Our Seattle team is back. I just wanted to welcome them, but they already left for book distribution again. So, Kautu Karna Prabhu, Vaishnav Toshni Prabhu, Adinath Krishna Prabhu, and Ananga Gopika and Priyanka Mataji, they all went and they are back. They collected over $15,000 in just a weekend. It's really amazing. It's really amazing how they just left. Some of them have families where they just went all the way, did traveling Sankirtan, unknown places, don't know if you'll get prasadam, but still they went, so brave. And we have a lot of opportunities here locally as well. Last Saturday evening, we went to San Rafael. It's a place little far away from here. And I must say that Haldarupa Prabhu never hesitates to drive. Even if it is 1.5 hours, 2 hours, he's ready with his car, loaded all the books. All we have to do is just get into the car. So there are devotees like that who are ready to drive. So if you want to jump into the car and go there, that's fine. And we met the sweetest of the people in San Rafael. That place is untouched. And usually when we go to places close by here, we have to call them, please come. In Market and Powell, we have to do whatever it takes to bring them to see us. There, people were actually coming to the table. What is this book? What are you doing? And there was one person who said that who heard about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra many, many, many years ago. He traveled to India and everything, but he never read a Bhagavad Gita or owned a Bhagavad Gita or heard much about it. So when we showed him a Bhagavad Gita, he took the Bhagavad Gita and he just opened a page. And the page that he opened there was a Hare Krishna Mahamantra there, that page. And he said, I recognize this mantra, and I did not know that this mantra is mentioned in this Bhagavad Gita. And he took one Bhagavad Gita, and then he said, can I take another one? And he didn't have anything to carry. And then I said, how are you going to carry, because you're doing a lot of shopping? He said, I have an idea. He put one Bhagavad Gita in his one pocket, another big Bhagavad Gita in another pocket. So Bhagavad Gita fits in your pocket. If you wanted to, if somebody gives an excuse, I have no space, it fits in your pocket, so you can give them all to everybody. They can take and carry one too. And Haldarupa Prabhu had a very nice experience when they went to Santa Cruz, where they distributed a lot of Bhagavad Gitas. Prabhu, would you like to quickly come up and share your story? He usually goes out with Kunjari and Kumari together.
Hare Krishna, dear devotee. We went on Black Friday while most of the committee member in San Francisco. We had few team went to the down Santa Cruz. So we had 2 tables set up each side of the street and 2 families for like taking care of the tables and distributing the books. One thing I would say that day we met less than 1% Indian origin there. So if you want to distribute books, like to the far and wide, just go to Santa Cruz more often, right? And so while we were distributing both side table, I was switching the table from one side to other side and met one couple, they were just shopping around. We said hi and they didn't look at it and just walk. And then after some time, again they came back. Again say hi, they didn't look at. And then third time on the other side of the street, other table. And then they just saw us, they just see the table and say, okay, here we are. So I see the principle of book distribution, the more we sow, more it sells. Right? Because both sides of the street, they're seeing us with the same way greeting and same way they're seeing the books. So they just came by, and by looking what is this book's about, we explain them Bhagavad Gitas and karma and meditations. And interestingly, our Achyutabalaram Prabhu has put his clipboard there with some entries of donations from previous book distribution. So he had that, and then person look at that and he say oh, so we can donate also, right? And then husband just says that, oh yeah, just $50 you can give, right? Because there are some entries of $50. I say okay. So lady took out the purse and look at, there is no enough cash, and she's like, I have one $50 bill, wait a minute. And she kept that bill since many years in her wallet, and she said, this is very, very precious because I kept this, and it could be very antique also, right? Because it's many years she's holding with that, and she gave that $50, and they both left happily and took the books, with them.
Yeah, he's just demonstrating how the clipboard works. And Mayaput Prabhu wants to also share. That $50, Kunjari is going to keep sake for it, because when its value changes to $10 million, she's going to give it to the temple.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. This is just a request. There is one more avenue for book distribution. So right now, Motel Gita has around 11,000 books of orders pending. So the way we do is, we have a team that gets the orders, and then there is another, same team. We also again contact the hotel owners, confirm it, and things like that. We do some due diligence before the books are dispatched, so they are not returned. Right now we want to have our main team focus on getting more orders, especially for this month. So if any one of you are available, this is a service you can do sitting at your home. Just calling. It's not cold calling. It's calling and confirming existing orders. I'll spare the details in this discussion, but you can reach out to me or Malini Mataji and she can connect me. And it's very simple, at least for this month, and of course even beyond that. All we have to do is call the hotel owners, do certain logistic validations, and boom, we can dispatch the book. We want to do all these things before BBT shuts down in December, which will be in just a couple of weeks or maybe even sooner. So if you can help, please reach out. Thank you.
We are telling the different avenues because I know everybody doesn't want to go out on book distribution, but if you're interested in any of these, we have engagement for everyone. The last one I wanted to say a story is that we heard from His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, who is a big shot, is a little shot who keeps shooting, is a big shot, becomes a big shot. So yesterday we had a calling party. We had a list that was given by Brajras Bhavan Prabhu. We had a list of all the people. He just mined those contacts. And Shriji Priya Mataji and Prema Kishore Mataji, they religiously show up on the call every Friday evening, 4 to 5 p.m. And they keep calling. They're not caring who is who is a potential, who is not a potential. We thought usually South Indians may be more inclined, and she just called someone from North India, someone. He picked up and he said, sorry, I can't talk to you right now. I'll call you in 20 minutes. Usually people say that. We just thought, okay, he's going to say that. After 20 minutes, he religiously called back. And he said, I am on a vacation right now. I'm sorry, I'm with my friends. I couldn't speak. But what is it about? And then she explained about the cause that we have at least 4.6 million Bhagavad Gitas to distribute. So we are doing this. He said, really? I want to help. Tell me how much I should give. And then he immediately, she said $120 for a case of Bhagavad Gita. He said, I will give you $150 now. And once I see what exactly you're doing, I'll give you more. So there are people, we are just calling. So you just have to sit at home. We'll give you the script, we'll give you the contact numbers, whatever you need, we will give you. And we also have a call where each other can inspire, so you don't have to feel like you're alone. So please join us. We have a long way to go, but I know that it can be done by mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Today's prasadam was cooked by Koladweep Prana Prabhu, Dhir Prashant Prabhu, Premanithai Prabhu, Ananta Vallabha Prabhu, Shama Bhakta Prabhu, and Atulya Chitralekha Mataji.
And now we have a first letters and first grain ceremony that will start forthwith. We pray that Bhakti community and Team ISV have all success today, and we look forward to celebrating on January 7th. So we have just a few weeks left for the marathon. Everyone can pick up books and participate between now and then and be counted. Hare Krishna. We'll see you over here in 30 seconds. Hare Bol.
Krishna Krishna
So first will be Prahlad, who's doing first letters today. And today's ceremony is notably a way of worshiping Krishna with all of our life's energies. We're given intelligence by Krishna. Sarvasya chaham hridisani vishnu matak smritir jnanam aponam sha. And we're given motor skills. In fact, it's an amazing arrangement Krishna's given us, the human body, to understand him, to use our senses in his service. And because the way you're raising your children, the two of you, you're bringing them to Krishna consciousness with every step, every breath, every turn they make. And one of the most important aspects, of course, for a human being is hearing, understanding, and writing. And writing is an abstraction of speech. It's also the medium through which we understand Krishna, through the Shastras. So we're going to start by giving Prahlad the first letters. And we have here a very nice, colorful notebook. You like your notebook, Prahlad? This will be your lifelong companion. We have here also a very fine pen. It's a ballpoint. And if you'd like to join me for a moment, I'm going to give you this pen. You'll hold it in your hand, and then I'll hold your hand, and we're going to write your first letters. Does that sound good? Sound like fun? Let's try. You sit here. Right-handed? Left-handed, perfect. You have a seat right here. Sit next to me. Now, hold the pen here with your left hand. Take the pen and hold like this. Like this. Hold on. Like that. Very good. And now, a little kirtan. Ready?
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
You did good. A super achiever. Now, this will be your notebook. You write many more things here, okay? For you. Yes, very good. Hare Krishna. You're going to go home and write a novella. Hare Krishna. And now we're going to perform first grain ceremonies for Dhruva. And we'll start forthwith, but first we're going to say some mantras for auspicity, and we'll chant the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita together. Savana bhavatu, savana bhunatu, sahaviryan karavavahai, tejasvinam adityamastuma vidvishavahai. Om Shantis, Shantis, Shantihi. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Swastino Govinda Swastino Chutaranto Swastino Vasudevo Vishnu Dharatu Swastino Narayano Narovai Swastina Padmarabha Purushottam Dharatu Swastino Vishvakshvena Visheshwaraha Swastino Rishi Kesho Harir Dharatu Swastino Vayanantayo Harihi Swastino Ananjana Suto Hanur Bhagavatu Dharatu Swasti Swasti Sumangalai Kesho Mahan Shri Krishna Sakchit Anandaganaha Sarveshwareshwaro Dharatu. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Purushottam Yoga. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Urdhvamulam Adashakam Ashvatam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedabhir Adashurdvam Prashritastasya Shaka Guna Pravrita Vishaya Pradala Adashtahulananusanthatani karmanubandhini manushaloke narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate nanto nacharya cha sampratishta ashvatamenam suvarudamulam nasangashastrena dridhena chitva Tatakparam takparimargitavyam yasmin gatana nirvatanti bhuta taneva chadyam purusham prapadye yatha prakriti prashrita purani nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama Dvande vimukta sukha dukkha samjay gacchantya mura paramagriyantam Na tad vasayate suryo, na shashanko na pavakaha, yadgatva nirvartante, tadama paramam mama. Mamayvansho jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatanaha, manakshastani indriyani, prakritis ikarshyate. Shariram yadavatnoti, yachchat yukramatishvaraha, grihitvaitani samyati, vayurgandhani vashaya. Shotram chakshus sparshanam cha, rasanam granadeva cha, adhishtaya manaschayam, vishayanupasevate. Ukramantam stitam vapi, gunjanam vagunanvitam, vimudhanam pashyanti, pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Yatanto yoginaschainam, pashyantyatman yavastitam, yatanto pyakritatmano, nainam pashyanta chetasaha. Yada ditya gatam tejo, jagad basaya kekilam, yaschandramasi yashchagno, tat tejo vitimamakam. Gam avishya chibhutani, dharayanyaham ojasa, pushani chausadi sarva, soho bhutva rasatmakaha. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyanam Chaturvidam Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Sannivishto Matatsmitir Jnanam Apohanam Cha Vedaisha Sarve Ahameva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Veda Vedeva Chaham Dvavima Purusha Loka Shara Shakshara Eva Cha Shara Sarvani Bhutani Kutasto Shara Uchate Uttama Purushastvanya Paramatme Tudaritaha Yolokatrayam Avishya Vibhartavyaya Ishvaraha Yasmat Sharamati Akshara Pichotamaha Atosmi Loke Vedecha Pratita Purushottama Yo Mamevam Sambudho Janati Purushottamam Sasarva Vidvajati Mam Sarvabhavena Bharata Iti Guyattamam Shastram Idam Uttam Vayanaga Etad Bhutva Buddhiman Syat Krita Kriptascha Bharata Om Tat Sariti Sriimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambhade Purushottam Yogo Nama Panchadashodhyayaha Hari Om. And now, Dhruv, time for your first grains. We've prepared a special Mahaprasadam just for you. And we'll have a little kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Doing good, Dhruv.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama, Hare Hare. Well done, Dhruv. So, Dhruv, now we have no obligation whatsoever, but an opportunity. And that is that here before you, we have the Srimad Bhagvatam, we have a huge stack of cash, we have envelopes, we have gold coins, pearls, looks like emeralds, and silver bangles. So now, please indicate to us what your future will be by sitting before them and choosing as you wish. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Dhruv has just given Dandavat obeisances to the Bhagavatam. He's meditating deeply. He's inching towards the Srimad Bhagavatam. He's also intrigued with the fabric underneath the Bhagavatam. Touched? Our prognostication that Dhruv will have a light touch in life, and that be humble, thoughtful, and always the purveyor of the truth by teaching reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all through the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we pray to Srila Prabhupada that he may always be in the association of pure devotees, always have the holy name on his tongue and in his heart, and may become a great Vaishnava to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, following in its footsteps of his elder brother, who will be an author and who will give great advice to people all over the world to surrender to Krishna. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with these prayers in whole or in part on this day of December 6th. It is? December 6th, 2005. Please say Hare Krishna. I hereby declare this first letters and first grain ceremony to be complete success by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Panchatattva, Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan, and Sri Sri Lakshmi Nrsingadev. Thank you, Siddhartha and Vishakha and Krishna Leela, for all you're doing for the community, and best of all, raising Krishna conscious children. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpadabhishcha kripasinabhevacha patitanam bhavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavidiki Jai. Gaur Prem. Anande Hari Hari Bo. Thank you. Shari Avijaja Jodendriya Taheka Jibe Pele Vishaya Shagare Tarmadye Divayati Loba Moisudurmati Take Jeta Katita Shanshare Krishna Bodha Doya Moy Gori Bade Jiva Jai Shaprasadana Dilo Bahai Shayanamrita Pao Radha Krishna Gunagao Premedako Shri Chaitanya Nittai Premedako Shri Chaitanya Nittai Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Pramani Vaishnave Sapa Punya Vatam Rajan Isha Sonagata Prasade Sarva Sukhanam Manirasya Upajayate Prasanate Kasuryachu Pudpaya Vasistas Dayupa Bhutta Sakana Vasalankara Charchitaha Utishta Bhojano Dasa Savamayam Jayemahi Suksham Prayushitam Vapi Nityam Badurapeshita Prapti Matrena Bhuktanyam Dantrakala Vicharanana Deshaniyamastatra Kalaniyamastatra Praptamanam Dhritam Shishter Bhoktaram Har Abrave Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasadiki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Please come take prasadam. Hare Krishna.